welcome back to season 3 of Dice Jesters, and welcome to our little in-between episode while we're getting our 10x10 ready. Well, our second game in our 10x10. I am Julie.
My name is Dave.
And today we're going to be discussing an Arnak expansion that I forgot the name of already. It is The Missing Expedition. Yes. I beat you to it, Dave. I saw you looking on the shelf.
Because I forgot it too. I just knew it as the second expansion. Most second expansion.
So this is the second expansion? So the one that we played with had an expansion come with it, or what was that?
No, I just threw it in because I heard that the leaders were a really cool addition to the game. And this kind of leaves me, I had a question of the week for you.
A question of the week?
Into this, yeah.
Oh.
How interested in playing expansions, or including expansions, are you at this stage in your board gaming career, as we would say?
What's a career?
Because I'm not, and I didn't mean to cut you off preemptively there, but I'm not one to necessarily want to throw in expansions right away with the game. I want to enjoy it a little bit. And then if I feel like it's got a little bit stale, or it needs a little flavor, as you will, using the
board
food
game.
terminology with board games.
What's it called?
Crunchy, meaty.
No, what's that other word for... Oh, no, I'm going to call it the board game
lexicon.
Zest. What is lexicon?
Yes, the board game lexicon journey.
Is that a real word?
It is, yes. That? It is another fancy word for vocabulary.
I'm going to have to look it up later.
Set of words. Etymology, that's another one.
Etymology?
Yeah. You're thinking entomology. This was an exception because I love starting player abilities that are unique.
Yeah.
And I heard you can just throw this one in right away. So I was intrigued. I didn't necessarily tell you this is an expansion that we're playing with. I just said this is how you play the game. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was really cool to play through Arnak with this just included. But then we got to the end, and then I wanted to explore the second expansion, so we did that. But how do you feel about expansions at this point?
I think they're okay. I think that they work and whatnot. I don't know. Yeah. I don't
like if we played a game and you really liked it, would you say, oh, are there expansions for this game that we can try out? Or do you just like exploring the base game itself?
Honestly, I don't think I really understand expansions right now. I get what they are, but I guess I just don't understand them.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know how to explain it. So when something is made like for the board game, but I guess for like Pokemon and stuff, there's booster packs.
Oh yeah, you love those booster packs, don't you?
Yeah, but I don't play Pokemon. I just collect them because they're cute.
I found out that's what most people do because I was asking, well, how do you play Pokemon? You said, well, nobody plays Pokemon. You just collect the cards. Like, well, what's the point?
Well, what's the point? You saw how expensive my card was. I only showed you one card.
Yeah.
It was like $300 Yeah. It's a gold mine in that binder, okay?
Cash cow, yeah.
I have 90s baby cards.
Ooh, I want to know more.
But yeah,
That's
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have like a firm statement on it right now. It's can be great, maybe not great, but I think that the expansions that usually come out with a game that people really enjoy tend to put bandages over the boo-boos of the initial game. So in a way, I feel like it's good. So if there's a game that you like and you're like, oh, I like this, I just wish this is different, and then the publisher listens and the publisher's like, oh, okay, yeah, I hear you, I hear what you're saying, and the publisher's like, I care about people wanting to play my game. Mm-hmm. Not like where they're being a gatekeeper or anything where they're just like, oh, well, you're just not that person then. Perhaps it's something, if I could just have this, and then the publisher's like, oh yeah, that makes sense, let me change that. So then they make it, roll it out in an expansion, and then it adds to the game that way. I think that's fun. And then I think if there's a game that's well-loved and cherished, like Carcassone's a well-loved, cherished game for people, but the base game we looked at recently and was like, wow, this is way smaller than I remember it. So the expansions just add some nostalgic fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think expansions can take different forms. I don't really, even after playing games for a while now, I don't really know where I land on expansions because some of them I really like. Carcassonne is a perfect example. I love mixing and matching them because every game will feel different and you can decide what kind of experience you want. And then others, as somebody who's learning a game, there's nothing more intimidating to me than when I'm learning this big sprawling game and then somebody says, oh, by the way, we threw in this expansion and there's a whole other component that we have to learn on top of these complex rules that we're already doing. It creates this intense experience, and I don't necessarily like things that just complicate a game even more. I like it when it adds to what I already like in some way.
Yeah.
But then there's also a piece of appreciation that I have for a game that I feel like doesn't need expansions to be good. You know, like a masterpiece in its own design.
Yeah, so I would say I'm a third.
A third?
Yeah, a third.
What is a third of what? What does that mean? It's a unit of measurement? I don't understand.
Yeah, like a third. Like I'm just a slice of pie. I'm just, you know.
What? I'm
like I can
so
have like
confused
this
right now.
slice or this slice or this slice. Like I can have the expansion. I can not have the expansion. I can. Oh, why are we adding the? So maybe a fourth.
I'm more confused the more that you explain. Somehow.
Oh my gosh, this is like when we were first talking about this pro and con thing that I made, and I was explaining it to you with math and a pizza.
The pizza.
And you're like, what about this pizza? And I'm like, why? You're the pizza.
We sat on the phone for a solid 30 minutes while you tried to explain it. I'm so sorry. And then I don't know if I just pretended to understand or what because I felt bad, but I haven't done that too many times. But
no, we haven't had a time like that in a long time. But yeah.
But I wanted to talk about our overall experience with
the missing expedition.
but then also the expedition leaders, and just overall, after playing Arnak, we played like 14 times by this point, with the expansions, with all the leaders, with the different boards.
I think so.
Yeah, I thought maybe we could just talk through how it was, our experiences. How did you like the different leaders and mixing and matching those and choosing a different one each time? Because we got to a point where we played them all, and then the last couple rounds, you got to choose what the other player played with. And that was kind of fun.
You're saying that in such a fun way, but my way was that it was going to be detrimental. But then you got to pick first, and you're like, oh, Julie, I'm going to pick a nice player. See, I'm giving you a nice character that I know you like.
The Baroness? You like the Baroness?
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, so you want me to give you a character that I know you like.
Yeah, because I care about you.
I thought it was funny when you sent me the Pub Meeple to rate the characters, and for the Falconer, you wrote out the noise that I made every time I used the Falcon. Like every time I called the Falcon back, I was like, caw. And you wrote caw.
Yeah. Just so you wouldn't forget who the Falconer was.
I forgot what some of them were because there wasn't like a picture for them. But the list it had made out of the characters is exactly what I would think. Like what my favorite is and what my least favorite is. And I think we have probably the same favorite because my favorite's the mechanic because of the wheel. It's fun to spin.
Yes.
And then you get all of those bonuses, and you kind of get additional moves too. You know, like if you spin it just right, you get to use one of the idols without having to go to an idol.
Well, we were talking recently. Remember somebody asked what our favorite mechanism was in the game, and you said spinny things.
Yeah.
And here we were playing this. I was like, oh, here's your spinny thing.
Yes, here's my spinny thing. It spins in a circle.
Spins in a circle.
Just like Bonfire. That's all.
Yeah.
I didn't buy any of the gnomes in Bonfire. I just spun the thingy.
That was your mistake. That's why you lost.
I didn't come in last place, though.
You're like, you didn't win either, Dave.
Yeah.
I'm close.
And remember for Nucleum, Dave? You came in last place.
That was not even close. Well, I thought I was doing well when we got to the end scoring, and then there was the other person who was like, okay, here's like 90 points for this, here's 100 points for that. I was like, oh.
And then everybody looked at my board, and they're like, wait, you didn't use any of the like, nuclear plants?
How did you do that?
And I'm all like, I don't know. Just figured it out. I don't know.
The Expedition Leaders expansion with the first set that we played with.
Yeah.
How do you think that boosted your enjoyment of the experience we played together?
So we played still versus or against each other. I don't know.
Yeah.
The terminology. We played like we normally did. We didn't do the campaign or the co-play. Play
cooperative.
Team. Yeah. Cooperative. We didn't do that. And honestly, it felt like the same game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For the Missing Expedition one?
Yeah, it felt like the same game, just different people. Like a job. Just rotate us.
Your reviews are so quick. That makes sense.
Quick to the point.
What about like the boards, the different tracks? Because the Expedition Leaders came with one, this one came with one.
Same thing.
It's the same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah.
I was really trying to see if there was like a strategy. And maybe it's just me, but I tried going for monsters. I think I had like 30 points in the monsters at one point. And then I tried going only for the track. And then I tried going for a mix. And it doesn't matter.
Or it's just cards. Sometimes you get points for the cards.
And it didn't matter. Every time I played,
Yeah.
My score stayed around the same.
And I think with the expedition leaders and then the missing expedition, so with those two, it was just a lot of mixing in more of the same, apart from the leaders themselves, which were really cool.
Mm-hmm.
The new monster tiles, the new site tiles, the new idols, and all of that, the new tracks. I felt like it added a lot to the game, but didn't really change the experience.
Right.
Because all those tiles do the same thing. They just give you arrowheads or scripts or coins or compasses. They don't really push you in any different direction other than the expedition leaders themselves. So.
Yeah, and then sometimes you'd be left over with all the resources that you really couldn't do anything with because you would need a certain pattern or fulfillment of the resources, and if you had all these arrowheads, it didn't matter because you couldn't move up the track because you needed like a ruby and a script.
So I feel like, and this kind of leads me down the track of asking how you feel about Arnak now, because it's an interesting question. You'd think adding in 2 expansions would just significantly boost the amount that you feel like you have to explore, but by this point I kind of feel like I've seen everything with the game, even with the 2 expansions. So it's not much left in Arnak to explore.
I think I like it because there's that archaeology theme of it in my heart. And so there's that aspect of it that I just really enjoy, and I do like the art and the gameplay. After you and I got going, knowing the rules and everything, we were able to do it a bit quicker.
Like 45 minutes.
Yeah. So then that was, to me, that's good timing for a game that was bigger. And I don't know, I like it because it's just big enough to keep my attention, or just fun enough to keep my attention. I don't know though. Because to me, it was kind of luck-based. Like, you did have your cards and everything, but that's if you could afford to purchase more cards. You did have your resources, but then you couldn't really convert resources into other resources unless you had a conversion card. So it kind of just mattered on what was dealt from the cards to pick from, what you decided to go up. They're really, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. Like, if you said, oh, I'm just going to trade it away, I'd be like, oh, okay. Or if
it's
you
still
said,
fun.
Yeah, it's still fun. I'm just mixed feelings.
And it could be one of those, maybe we don't play it for a while, then we come back and like, oh yeah, this is fun. You know, it feels new again because it's been a while. The one thing that stands out to me, I'm glad you mentioned the luck thing, because I don't think we talked about this last time, but those final turns of the game, if you pass, okay, and then because you have those item cards at the end, you can spend your final turns just purchasing cards as an action. Yeah. But let's say I pass because I can't afford a card that's out. Let's say I have 3 coins, but the one that's out is 4, and then I pass. You can afford it. You buy it at 4, and then one comes out for 1 coin that I technically have enough for, but I've already passed, and the rules say you can't continue playing. Even though had I been able to wait 1 more turn, I could have bought 1, 2, or 3 more cards depending on how they came out. So that was like one thing that I noticed. But
and for the monsters, every time you discovered a new site, you owed it back to the monster.
You owed it back to unless you wanted to get the fear card. Yeah, I don't know.
And I did try doing a round where I just took the fear card.
Yeah.
Like, I just was like, whatever, because I had one of the, I don't know what those people are called, the ones that gave you extra bonuses. So I had that, and I would just get rid of the fear card. So,
oh, right.
Who was your favorite person to play as?
My favorite was the mechanic.
I knew you liked the spinny thing, too.
So it's interesting because we ranked them, and the second expansion, the Missing Expedition, had both my favorite leader and my least favorite leader.
Really?
Yeah.
My least favorite is the professor.
Really? With the suitcase?
Yeah, because you only got to really do actions with the compass cards, you know? So I didn't feel like it was that beneficial, while the journalist, he was the journalist, right?
Yeah.
Allowed you to do other actions with your newspapers.
It's true, and I think my perception of the journalist would change with more players, because the way it works is there's these newspaper tiles at the different sites, and you can use a free action by paying a travel cost to get those onto your board, and then you use those to cover up things to get bonuses. But it takes a lot to be able to do that. First, the site has to be discovered, and then you need an action to get there, and then use a card to be able to collect it. But in a 2-player game, there were some where we didn't have that many sites that got uncovered. Yeah. But I think with more players, there'd be a lot more of those out that you could go. So I think for the 2-player experience, maybe it's not great, but with more, it could be a little bit more exciting. Because I never used many of the newspapers when I played it as the journalist.
I didn't use any. Because I never could get any.
So your favorite was the mechanic too?
Yeah, my favorite was the mechanic.
adding those pieces to the wheel
It was
just so fun. And then you can use the monkey assistant, which is the third.
Yes, you spin the wheel again.
Spin the wheel, and then you can collect the stuff, and then you spin the last several
just like
turns.
spinning the wheel.
Getting the stuff.
There's so many distractions in this game.
Oh, yeah. I know that you like games where you can really pay attention to what I'm doing and mess me up in some kind of way. I don't know about you, but I didn't really feel like there was much of that in this game. Like, we kind of put our heads down and did our own thing. There wasn't much of the smack talk that we normally do when we're playing each other, so to speak.
The love jabs.
Yeah, the love jabs. How do you feel?
Yeah, I would say that's probably why I have mixed emotions about it, because I guess there wasn't that player interaction that I really like. But I like the overall theme and the straightforward actions that you take. So that's probably why I'm a pie. You're like, we're back to this pie.
I had a good time, and this is still, I think this is a keep it to play, right?
I love how I literally was like, I could take it or leave it. And here you are, you're like, oh, it's a keep it to play. So I guess because you would like it to be a keep it to play, then it would be a keep it to play. Yes.
It's the theme, the archaeology. I feel like this game was made for us.
I'll never forget that day when you and I, this is so off topic, when you and I were sitting at a table and there was a speaker. And he said, you guys are here because you worked hard to get here, unlike anthropologist or paleontologist. And you and I looked at each other because we felt so attacked.
We did. I was like, I studied anthropology in college. You wanted to study paleontology. We're like, wow. Are we living in a simulation?
I'm like, that's extremely specific to call. Like, who thinks about that?
There were like 700 people in the room too. That room was packed.
And they called it like out of nowhere. I was like, did we fill out some weird questionnaire?
And this was not an academic conference or anything like that where that would be normal. So I don't know.
I think he wanted to be an anthropologist.
I think so. That was
a paleontologist. So he
very
was
deep in the subconscious.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be an anthropologist when I grow up. You can't do that. You can't make money doing that. Like, I want to follow my dreams.
It's like, no. You're going to do something boring. And here we are. And that wraps up our exploration of Lost Ruins of Arnak. We hope you enjoyed diving into this adventure and uncovering the secrets of the island with us. Remember to share your experiences and strategies with us because we would love to hear them. Until next time, keep exploring and may your journey be filled with treasures.